Once again, I want to thank our sponsor, BAE Systems, for helping make this happen. And then I'm going to ask Diane to come on up.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Oh, gosh. Oh, you guys. Oh, hush, hush. Come on. Like, you don't have to stop. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Let me get my clicker going, get my glasses on. First, I just want to thank you guys for coming here. Like a couple of you guys I've already chatted with about how you got here, why you're coming here, and then your intros help me get some more background on why you guys are here. And I just want to tell you, I really appreciate you all spending your valuable, precious lunchtime with us today. So today I'm going to share a couple of things with you that you might have heard before, so that's probably going to happen. But hopefully there's going to be some things that are going to help your brain pivot a little bit, how you're thinking about things. And then I've got some tools to be able to send you home with if you want to continue this journey for yourself. So we'll go ahead and get started. So we've kind of done the intros. I didn't get to say hi, so hi, I'm Diane Ward. This is our team. We are called OpEx Solutions, and OpEx stands for Operational Excellence. So we're a small consulting group. We're located in Roanoke, Savannah, and also Greenville, South Carolina. So that's me over there, the second person, in case you don't recognize me. Because every time I see my pictures, I'm like, I really look like that. Like I think I look different. But anyway, so that's me and the team. My background is supporting leaders with doing facilitation, training. I'm a certified coach, and I've also got a background in lean consulting and process improvement. So that's our whole company. We're just here to help other companies be more successful. My passion, though, is to help individuals get where they want to get. So that's one reason I'm locked into something that sounds very corporate-y, is because most of the time I get to work with people one-on-one, and we get to find out what they really want to do. So first, want to make sure is we're talking about work-life balance, and that's why you guys came today. Is just talk about what's the problem really we're trying to solve here. So I want to put a couple of things up and see if they relate to why you guys came today. To how to fit more in and how to do more. Okay, so that's one area of problems. How to be successful or how to accomplish things. So that's another area. Or how to be happier, how to feel at peace, and how to feel at rest. So when we talk about work-life balance, which one of those really for you guys is it really about? And you guys can just like holler it out like this. The last three? Okay.
I feel at rest especially. I can't let my mind rest ever.
Yeah, yeah.
I think for me it's a balance between how to accomplish things and how to feel at peace. It's a war between them.
Okay, gotcha. And of course those top two feed into this one, right? I mean, that really, you've got to have those other two. And we're going to focus mostly on this. But I just want to share with you, the first two categories, honestly, they're pretty easy to fix. It's simple, but not easy. So how to fit more in, how to do more, that's really about time management. And that's its own methodology about how you look at time, your attitudes for time, how you spend time, how you invest time. That's just how you use your hours. That's time management. How to be successful, how to accomplish things, that's really goal setting. That's about being clear about what you're going for and then how you get there. But this one is the hardest one. And I'm going to share with you guys, you might have seen this before, the Wheel of Life. I've got handouts for you guys. We're going to practice with this just a little bit. But this, I think, is really what most people are going for. Would you guys agree with me? Okay, good, good. Okay, so here's our current approach. If we just say work-life balance, because everywhere I go, everybody says work-life balance. I even say it because everybody knows what that means, right? So you've got work and life. Well, gosh, you guys, like if that's all we've got, why can't we? I mean, it seems like there's a lot of extra space on that slide. Like if that's all we're trying to balance, what are we complaining about? Well, because we got chores and finances and hobbies and travel, passwords to keep up with, mail we have to go through. We want to rest. We've got pets. We've got family commitments. We've got clothes that need to be washed and folded or ironed or purchased. And then we've got our home we have to take care of. So a lot of times people say work-life balance, but to me it's really not work-life. It's all of this stuff. Would you guys agree? And probably I could have put like 80 more categories. When I went to ChatGPT, I said, what do people spend most of their time on? And it gave me like this wheel. And honestly, there was like 30 to 40 categories there. On average, how much time people spend like washing clothes, looking at their emails, on social media, talking to family. So I know there's a whole lot going on. So here's where, in my own theory, sometimes we approach this like the backwards way. Like, I've got all this stuff to do. How can I do it? And I would say, let's, instead of starting at the chaos, which all this is, let's start at the beginning, which is you. So rather trying to put all this stuff somewhere neatly and we're organized and we're happy, let's figure out what you is. Okay, so who are you? Do you ever think about that? Like, we get so busy with everything we're trying to do. That slide, I just had all those activities. Do you ever stop and think like who you are? Like, listen to your own voice and who you are and who you want to be? You ever think about like, what are your values? So as you go through your day and you're trying to get all this stuff done, do you ever stop and say, yes, what I'm spending this time on matches my values? Or do you ever say, wait a second, they're asking me to do something that really doesn't match like what's important to me, and I can say no. We've kind of all gotten used to, we just get more and more dumped on us to get stuff done, right? We don't really, how many times do you ever like stop and say, yeah, that's my value, and I'm going to do that? Okay, so what are your values? Okay, what's the most important thing to you right now and long term? So when you look at everything you have to do in the day, do you kind of give it all equal priority, kind of? Like, I've got 80 things I need to do, so let me start with number 1 and number 2, number 3. But what's the most important thing? Because you guys have heard this before. If everything's a priority, nothing's a priority. So like right now, just visualize in your own mind, with your own situation where you are, what are the top 3 things that are most important to you? And I know the other things we have to get done, but what are the top 3? And then how are you doing towards those? So let me just ask you guys, does anybody have a hard time trying to nail down like the top 1 to 3 things that's most important to them right now? You guys, okay, no? Okay. So Kim, what are you saying? Like, yeah, do you want to explain or I'm not putting you on the spot. If you don't want to answer, you don't have to, but.
For me, because of what I do, for me, pleasing God is my number 1 priority. So if I put Him my priority, everything else sort of just trickles down and falls into place. And I think that should be with anything that can make the priority. But you have to choose to do that.
Yeah, okay, so that kind of helps, like that steers your ship.
Keeps me focused.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Does anybody else struggle saying, it's really hard for me to just come up with a couple of things? Okay.
I mean, I have a hard time, I guess, balancing religion, home life, and making priorities of, from whatever basis I need, I guess, instead of other than work or what work's needing or.
Yeah. Yeah, so it sounds like, are you saying like you'd like to spend more time on those things, but you don't have time?
I would like to spend time away from what is my priorities for work, I guess.
Okay.
That has overshadowed a lot of my, like where her religious basis is her number 1 priority. I'm Christian as well, but it was hard for me to say that I put God first, I guess, is my, like
sure.
that kind of aspect. So it was, I guess just more of personal and less of business.
Yeah, okay. So you're figuring out, I mean, I think that's honest. Everything you said, I totally appreciate. That's,
and I'm not saying, no, I'm not putting myself on a pedestal, because I still have the distractions. And, you have to.
Yeah.
Any earthly thing, it's just going to happen,
Yeah.
It's called the debris of life. It happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think for me, it's balancing. I know what's most important to me, than trying to get out of my head what is the most important thing to work, and therefore does it need to be the most important thing for me in the moment.
I also think that a lot of times, you can say to yourself, most important things are my family and, home life, and then if, religion is that, then that too. But sometimes work feels like the thing that ends up being the most pressing 90% of the time, and also you depend so much on it for survival, unfortunately.
To have your family.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So, like,
that's-
it sucks that, like, you know, sometimes you're like, no, my family's the most important thing, or my health, or whatever. But then,
Yeah.
like, something comes up with work and it has to be addressed.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to be like, wait. It's so hard to even in the moment be like, okay, do I need to be freaking out about this and like
Yeah.
dropping everything to go deal with this work thing? Or can I, you know, wait or take a breath or like wait till tomorrow when I go back in or whatever? You know, it's hard to kind of in the moment sometimes differentiate.
Yeah, and I love that you're explaining it like that because it's kind of like, I don't know about you guys, but I've been in the working world like 30, 40, 50 years. I've been there a long time, y'all. And I got to where I would react to stuff. So like I had this instant reaction. As soon as I got an email, I thought I had to do that right away. Or my boss would call and say, do this. And it didn't even dawn on me till a lot later that I could say, when is this due? Or would that be okay if I do this next week? Like and even we were talking this morning, like I pride myself on having a clean email box every day. Like, right, because I have trained myself, kind of like Pavlov's dog. Something comes to me, I'm going to bounce it back right away, and not realize I'm probably sacrificing where I should have been other places. So it's I was reacting versus responding. So when stuff comes to you from work, like everything, you know, we got to have our jobs. I'm going to show a slide that shows how important that is. But is it something that we can put into a better balance for us?
Reacting
And-
often makes your work suffer a little bit
Yeah,
rather than responding and being thoughtful.
yeah. No, you're exactly right. Because I don't know if your whole logical self is there when you react. And some,
More of an impulse.
pardon?
When you react, it's an impulse rather than an action.
Yeah,
Action takes more thought.
Just like when you're mad, stepping away from, you know, business is the same kind of way. Sometimes you have to just step away to get the
Yeah.
clearer picture, or, you know. But it's hard to step away when your step away is into a business aspect of some other sort. You know, you can't necessarily just
Yeah.
remove yourself completely.
yeah. So since you brought up about sometimes we get mad, did you guys know, like, if you flip your lid, like if you totally get really mad about something, it takes at least 15 minutes for your body to calm down for you to be logical again. So if you're arguing with somebody and they flip their lid or you
15
flip,
minutes for every 1 minute of anger. I think you're being very
generous.
ambitious.
Well, minimum of 15 minutes. So like to say you flipped your lid and you walk away, so outside, take a walk, for the chemicals that get produced in your body and how your brain is like now just kind of reacting to this total chaos, it takes you about 15 minutes. So that's kind of honestly how I react to work things. Something hits me, I'm ready, I'm kind of triggered, use that word, to like react right away. Meanwhile, I was almost done with something that was going, you know, I could be done, get that off my plate, and now I've pushed that aside. Now I'm working on this that wasn't even a priority. Somebody just asked me to do something and I jumped on it. So I think you're right, like we react. And so in my mind, one of the mantras I say in my head is, Diane, respond, don't react. And that's hard to do. That takes practice, because that's like taking a deep breath, saying, okay, you know, let me make sure I'm working on the most important thing. And most of our bosses, I think, if you ask them, said, you know, is this due like right away, or can I do this at the end of the week? You know, or how important is this on everything else that I'm working on for you? I think most bosses would say, okay, let's talk about it, figure it out. But I would never be courageous enough to ask. I just act like I had an unlimited amount of time to work on whatever, because I didn't want to be a problem child. But then like, oh, I didn't know you were already working on those other things. They'd say, keep rocking on that. I'll give this to somebody else maybe. Yeah.
Do you, going off of that, do you ever feel like you can't ask for the time frame because your home life is more forgiving than your business life?
Yeah, I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, my home life is
Yeah.
way more forgiving than my
Yeah,
business life.
'cause they're
so
gonna be
sometimes
there
I
when you
ask
get
for
home.
forgiveness than permission.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And I mean, I think that's a great point. And then when you look at it big picture, you know, and you're the only one that can say, are things moving the way that you like them to be in your life? Is that okay? Like, it might be okay for now, because maybe you're up for a big promotion. And you know, if you just really put the gas pedal down, you're going to get that promotion. So you're talking to your family. It's really important. I'm very accessible right now, or I need to travel a lot right now. You know, but if that goes into years and years and years, and then you go back home and you're looking at your kids and they're like 5 years older than the last time you remember them, and like, oh, maybe I've been away too much. So I think it all depends on what your goals are and what you're happy with and what your family's happy with. But a lot of times, like you said, we just think, well, the family's going to always be there, and work won't. But I'm just kind of wondering, like, if you flip that, like, is that true? Like,
What do you care about at the end of your life? You know, your family or your business, I guess, is your main goal.
yeah, and you get to decide. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about this is, yeah, I don't think there's a right way to do this. It's just what's important for you and your family. And that's why I'm kind of start out with the value slide first, because asking who are you is the foundation for all of this. So I'll give this to you guys. This is just like, because sometimes I'll ask people, what are your values? And they'll say, gosh, I don't know. I've never thought about it. So, and I do this in my classes and when I do coaching. And so I've got a worksheet that just got a lot of different values listed. And actually, Mr. Reagan, maybe I'll just ask you, or you can hand them out to the folks. You don't have to fill them out right now, but I just want to give you all some tools. Think about what your values are, and it might be even do this in a quiet place when you're by yourself. That starts to ground you on who you are and how you want to show up. Because when I did the values worksheet, I circled things or checked things I didn't even realize was a value to me till I saw it in black and white. And I'm like, well, probably nobody would look at me and think that's a value because I'm not really living that value. But it's my value in my heart. I'm just not living it. So that's the first step of this is just like really understanding who you are and what's important to you. And so, yeah, I was going for us to do this together, but I'd rather hear your questions and your comments and stuff. And but you can take a look at this if you have any questions. It's really easy. You just check off the things that you think are your values, and then they ask you why are those important to you. So as you guys are looking at the list, are there any that jump out at you that you're like, man, that is me? When you saw the word, all of a sudden your heart leaped for joy because you're like, that is one of my values. Yeah. Okay, Kim. Yeah.
Well, yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Mine is honesty and integrity, because I feel like
Nice.
I interact with a lot of. I mean, I'm very similar to Kim, and we're friends. So,
Yeah.
but I interact with a lot of people that may not share my faith.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just need that to be transparent. And
Yeah.
So I probably would pick integrity.
Yeah.
Same thing. I mean, just
That's
because
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you want your words to match up with what you say.
And your actions. Yeah. And sometimes there might be a choice in front of you. And so if you remember what your values are, all of a sudden the choice is easy because you're like, this one supports my values, this one doesn't. So knowing your values is kind of like you're carrying around a little compass with you everywhere you go. And it tells you, reminds you of who you are and what your priorities are and what direction you're going to go in. Yeah. Are there any other values that jumped out at you guys? Yeah.
Human relationships,
Oh.
friendships, and also just like maintaining positive relationships with people I work with and everything is very important to me.
Nice.
And so, like reaching out to people or like making plans with people, always try to prioritize that where I can.
Yeah. And you know, and sometimes what you just explained, sometimes they'll say like that's kind of like having a servant mindset, like you're here to serve people to help them be happier with their life and make things better for them. And yeah, I love that. Yeah, yes,
I
sir.
would say reputation, because it kind of, for me, it encompasses more than just one value. Because it can be, it could be the whole list.
Yeah.
If that's how you felt.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's a great, it's kind of like your character overall. Like you want all those positive attributes to be part of your reputation.
Right.
Like they know you're the real deal. Yeah.
I've got one that's not on the list.
Okay,
but for me
good.
It's community, and it similar to what Caitlin mentioned earlier, with family can be more forgiving. I didn't learn it until, unfortunately, my brother passed away, and we learned that we don't get any of that time back, and we learned how important the community was just to have the people around you, because we've all said this. You know, we could get hit by a bus tomorrow, work will move on, they're going to hire someone else. Your family's not going to, and the people
Yeah.
in the community aren't going to. So that's been one of the biggest pieces to me since moving here, is just finding and building that community of the people that will be there at your funeral.
Your village.
Yeah, your support network, and yeah, especially, you know, having kids, like you want to raise them in a community that's going to support them too and help them. When you're not there, they're going to stand in the gap for you.
And that was our choice
Yeah.
to stay here and not go back. We were from New York before, and
Yeah.
we're not going back to Manhattan because we're like, we're never going to have that strong of community like we can have here.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that you added one. Yeah. Eliza, did you have one?
I was
It's,
just gonna say, a big one for me is freedom, but I also circled discipline. But I think that sometimes discipline in action provides you with the freedom that you need in order to, you know, live the life that you want.
yeah.
I'm a big person of like, my job is important to me, but I am so many other things that
Yeah.
has nothing to do with how I make money. And so freedom for me is about just like being able to explore like my own interests and the things that are important to me and be with my family and kind of feel like that is like the most important thing as we like
Yeah.
often describe it. But as I said before,
Yeah.
the job can, you know,
Yeah.
jobs, especially ones I've had in the past, can be like very demanding and take you away from things that are more important. So I think freedom is a big one for me.
Yeah. I like that. I like that you tied those together because some people might say that sounds like opposites. But actually, like you're so spot on because like one of the things that I talk about a lot when I'm coaching folks are you get to choose your hard. It's either hard right now and then things will be better for you in the future, or you do the easy way out right now and it's going to be hard for you in the future. So you choose your hard. You get to pick. And so what you're saying is your hard is probably the discipline, but you know the payoff's going to be your freedom. Yeah. Yeah. Good, good. Well, you guys went deep with this. Thank you. Gosh, I love that so much. So here's the last thing, too, that kind of goes with who are you. Now that you've got your values, and I've got like another worksheet I'll give you, just basically you're just going to write a paragraph sometime, but what is your personal mission statement? Like, what do you think your purpose is for being here? So now that you've started saying what are your values are, what's important to you long term, you know, why are you here? Like, I think everybody's got a purpose for being here, and I don't know anybody's purpose, I think, except mine. I'm still drafting it. But what is your life's purpose? And kind of once you know what that is, that cements this compass for your life then. Because that's why it's important. So it might be okay to make some sacrifices in the short term if you know it's going to support your life purpose. And it supports your values and supports where you want to go long term. So I think this whole balance thing, and I'm trying to say work-life balance because it's really just life balance. But I think this whole thing is kind of based on what's important to you and what do you think your purpose is.
Well, that propels you to be motivated.
Yeah. Yeah. When you draft your purpose, and I promise you guys, have you guys ever done this before? Like drafted your personal mission statement? Okay.
I mean,
Some people
I've created a
kinda-
mission statement for my business, but not for myself.
Okay. All right. I think that's great. Yeah, that's a great way. Okay, so what does that? And I love that you're sharing that. What does that kind of like? I mean, we're all shaking our head like, yeah, we've done the mission statement, vision statement, strategic statement, you know, all that for our business, but we haven't done for ourselves. I'm in the same boat. What does that kind of tell us, like big picture? I mean, kind of tells me like I don't take my life and my family's life as important as like the person who's giving me money for a paycheck. Like, and like, what do we already say? Like, if you pass away, they'll be sorry, but they say that they can get your job posted quicker than they can post your obituary. I don't know if that's true or not, y'all. So I saw it on the internet. So
It has to be true.
it has to be true. Yeah. So we're kind of going deep here. And actually, Reagan, I'll let you. Oh, what'd you say?
I said, unless you write your own.
Oh yeah. Oh.
I've heard people doing
Yeah. Oh yeah. My father-in-law, he wrote his own.
it. I mean,
So
it's kind of a beautiful way to go out.
Yeah.
If you know you're not going to make it long. You know?
Yeah. So I'm
It's
just
a way to love your family.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I think the one reason why you can post the job faster than the obituary is the obituary requires an emotional value. I mean,
Yeah.
to support exactly what you said.
Yeah.
Really at work.
They've already got the job description written. They hit a button and it posted it to Indeed. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
where it can get. I think also I've done this before, but I'm in the middle of doing it again and got corrected. I mean, there's no nicer way to say it. That I wrote it to life instead of writing it about me or for me. So it looks really broad because I'm covering a lot of bases which shouldn't be included.
Yeah.
Because I'm pleasing the job and the
It
other
needs to
job.
be intimate,
Yeah.
if you want it to be real.
Yeah, kind of like a diary entry, like nobody's ever going to see it. But see, I love what you're saying because I think we're wired to be people pleasers to a lot, not just work, but family, community, church. But if it's just about you, like get real with you, what's important for you. Yes, ma'am.
I also find like, I don't have children. I'm not married, so I find
Yeah.
that a lot of my time, I think, is about success with my business instead of building my family or,
Yeah.
maybe making sure that my kids are having what they need right now or something like that because I don't have that aspect. So I think it's hard for me to find a purpose away from success in business
Yeah.
when I don't necessarily have a goal of building a family or something like that.
Yeah.
Too, so like that's where I'm trying to find like, hey, what is it that makes you happy in your life that doesn't pertain to success?
Yeah.
That's not my legacy I'm leaving. They're not going to care that I built a business. It's going to be
Yeah.
how I treated people or what I did. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm trying to find that difference.
Yeah.
I guess.
So as you're talking, yours might sound something like your purpose is to be a strong, courageous businesswoman that supports the community, helps others grow, helps life be better for others. So your purpose is you're serving through what you're doing in your business. So, and you're
And
being
that's not a bad thing.
That's not a
Because
bad
everyone makes you
thing.
feel like if you don't have
No.
kids,
no, gosh.
maybe just from my aspect at least, that I was raised that you go get a career, but you have a family, you raise a family, there's a
Yeah.
background, and it's like that wasn't really what my life directed to.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm like, okay, is it okay to be prideful on your business without it being your entity?
Well, you're proud of the effort you've put in, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And you're touching a lot of people's lives in a beautiful way. So how can any of that be wrong? Yeah, yeah.
I think also, I mean, I wish we recorded that immediate playback. And I don't know if you said as a female business owner was a characteristic, not an identity.
Mhm.
So I think it was one of the things that you're successful at.
Not who I am.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like you have a black dress on. You aren't the black dress.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
Right, yeah, yeah.
But I love how you embrace who you are and are
Yeah.
comfortable in your own skin, and I think that
Yeah.
is powerful.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think it's inspirational to people.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously,
Because
so,
many of us flounder around and don't know who we are, and we struggle, and we're like, and we worry about being worthy to do what we feel like we're called to do.
yeah, yeah. And I think we still compare, like, the 10th commandment, don't covet, but we still are kind of comparing, is my personal mission statement as good as that person's? And we shouldn't do that. Like, everybody is totally unique. I mean, obviously, if we're all the same, then they don't need most of us on the planet. So that every single person, I have a couple beliefs. One of them is every single person has unlimited potential. And I think everybody is worthy of having the life that they want to have. So those are like some of the things I go into every coaching, every training that I do is everybody is here for a reason. And they say there's the two most important days in your life. The first one is the day you're born, and the second is when you realize why you were born. I know that kind of gives me cold chills even saying that again, because it's like so deep. But I mean, I thank you guys for going deep with me because this really, I think, is the foundation for what we're talking about today. And hopefully that's going to be beneficial to you guys. The second tool that we'll share with you guys, have you ever done the Wheel of Life before? Has anybody ever done this? Okay. So if you go Google it, they're all over the internet. Yeah, and Miss Reagan, I'll ask if you don't mind just one more time. You can hand this out. Yeah, it looks like the Wheel of Fortune. So what they do, they call it the Wheel of Life, and you are in the middle of the wheel. And then the spokes that go around it are different parts of your life. And you can put whatever spokes, but these are 6 spokes that are kind of general for most people. And so what you're going to do on your paper It goes from 0 to 10, and you put a little dot how happy you are with that spoke of your life right now, this very instant. So you put a dot, so social and cultural, like, and just define it however it makes sense in your brain, but put a dot. Spiritual and ethical, put a dot. Once you put a dot on each one of those spokes, then you take your pencil and you connect the dots. Ideally, your wheel is going to be round. Most people's wheels have a big flat spot because it'll be high here and all of a sudden it'll be low, so there'll be a flat spot there. So this kind of shows you in a picture form how happy you are with different parts of your life right now. So that makes sense to you guys, the way I just explained it? Okay, 10's the best. So it goes from 0 to 10, and just put a little dot on the spoke on your paper, wherever you feel like you would rate your life right now in that spoke, and then connect the dots. Oh yeah, I've got the directions up here too. Gosh, I didn't even notice that I did that. So. You can just put them anywhere on the spoke. Like I usually just put them on the line somewhere in this, just so long you have a mark so you can connect it. So how happy you are where you are on that spoke right now. You're on track. And then when you connect the dots, how does it look?
Oh, I'm looking crazy.
Okay.
We are flat-sided a lot.
Okay. So then once you look at that, where you've got the flat spots, just kind of think about, is that spoke important to me right now? And it might not be, because sometimes people say, well, I think there's the education one, right? Like, is there education on this one? They're all different. Yeah, mental and education. Like, I'm fine with how I am right now. I'm not even going to spend any time on that spoke. So wherever your flat spots are, if you're like, that's not even important to me, then you can rename it something else and rate it, or just ignore it. But when you guys see your wheel, what do you think? What's jumping into your minds?
I might be losing air a little bit.
You're losing some air? So you might have a flat spot, and ideally, too, over time, you would like, if your wheel's more like in the 2s and 3 range, then maybe they're in 4 and 5. You know, as you work on different parts of your spoke, or you start spending more time and effort there, your wheel can get bigger too. So I think like the very first time I did this, I think physical and health, I was like a 1 on that one. Because I'm like, I'm not doing any exercise. All I'm doing is gaining weight, so I'm getting a 1 for that. Since then, I've taken some actions. I'm doing some things about that. But until I saw it visually, I was like, everything's cool. Everything's fine.
Mine looks like a kid trying to drive a car.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and this is just your wheel. We're not comparing to anybody else because they have different ratings too. Because someone's like, well, am I a 2 or more like a 2.5? I'm like, just put a dot. Yeah, this is just to kind of bring awareness to how things are feeling in your life. Because you all were telling me about the balance you want. Do you know what the balance is? Like, what do you want to spend more time on? And until you do some kind of exercise like this, it's kind of hard to tell. So I've got one more major idea to drop on you guys. So I don't want to rush from this, because I think, are we okay, Alan, on time? We've got
Just over 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. Because I didn't know if you'll maybe wrapped up by a quarter till or. Okay. All right. So we do have a second or two more to talk. Does anybody want to share anything that hit them when they looked at their wheel, or have any questions about it? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just like noticing that on quite a few of them, there's like kind of low scores, but I think it's not something that like alarms me, because I think I've recently been in this place of transition. I moved
Yeah.
back here kind of suddenly, and I think that sometimes you have to be at peace with like maybe the spokes of your life
Yeah.
not being as high.
Yeah.
Knowing that like you've been in really great places before and that you can do it again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think that like there's a lot of context that you should give yourself. Like if you're
Yeah.
looking at this like in like a really raw way, and then grading yourself based on how you feel in the moment, allow yourself context.
Yeah. So don't judge yourself. Yeah. Give yourself grace. It is what it is, and during transition, and really, maybe no matter what's going on in people's lives, they have highs and lows, and they're okay with that right now because they're getting ready to do something else. Or so, yeah, definitely. I wouldn't look at this like, I think we're conditioned when we go to school, like you have to get like an A or a B, or else you didn't do a good job. Like this is just you talking to you. But I agree. A lot of the training we do is around conditioning and how we've been taught to think. Like you have to get a certain score. When I was in kindergarten, the very first day, the teacher cut out letters to us, so we wrote on a piece of paper. And I gave her it back, and I came home in tears. And my mom said, "What's wrong, Diane?" I said, "I did terrible on this." My mom's looking at it, and I said, "She gave me a 1 and 2 zeros." And as a little kid, those are the smallest numbers on the scale. You know, she gave me a 1 and 2 zeros. That must be really bad. But she gave me 100. I got them all. So, but we get conditioned to think things need to look a certain way. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's looking at it as well for me and trying to find the separation within a category. 'Cause
Yeah.
while financial and career, I'm happy where I'm at as a career. Financially,
Yep.
love to make more money.
Yeah.
I'm recording that for Steve. So that was just trying to find that balance on where do I fall in that spoke, because how do I balance the two of those?
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? Maybe just draw another spoke and put career where you are and what you're learning and developing and contributing to the chamber.
Holding that wheel up with a stick.
Yeah. Well, actually, and what you're bringing up is my third point, that I wish I would have known this decades ago. And I just came across this recently, but this probably would have changed how I focused my life if I'd have known this. Okay, the third one is, you know, that my opening slides, like this is about you and now. So the reason I put now in caps is because the balance changes. So I'm going to show you as we go through life, what's important to us might change and why that is. So we're going to think about there's 3 main resources that we all are trying to manage, basically: time, money, and health. And they're going to show up as a triangle. So I'm going to step through this and we'll explain it, and then I can't wait to hear what you guys are going to say. Okay, so in your young adult years, so on the triangle, those are our 3 resources. Time and health, they're the longest on the triangle because that's we've got, as when you're young, you've got more time. Maybe you don't have kids yet or pets. You know, it's just you, so you've got time. You're young, you've got your health, or you think you have your health till you get older, then you realize you really did have your health. But what your limited resource is the money. That's the shortest side of your triangle. So like for me, when I was in college and undergraduate and graduate school, money was my limiting resource. Like I had time, even though I thought I was busy, and I had 2 part-time jobs. And I felt like I was tired all the time. Really, I was healthy, like everything was perfect back then, but money was my limiting resource. So if I was making my goals during the early adult years, like looking at this, I probably would focus on that I want to make sure that I'm making the money. I want to work on that side of my triangle. I didn't say this, but I hope y'all would understand anyway. This is total generalization. This isn't everybody for every year of your life. So there's a lot of generalizations because people might say, oh no, in my early adult years, you know, I had this really bad illness, so I didn't have my health. But in general, that's how it looks for your early adult years. Okay, it's your mid-adult years. What do you think your limiting resource is? How would your triangle look? What's the shortest? Time. So Rachel said time. Yep. So your mid-adult years, all of a sudden, things kind of shift a little bit. You started working, so you started making some money, and you bought a car, maybe you got a house. You've still got good health, but because maybe you're starting a family or you're starting a big-time job that's asking you to work more hours, or you're now having to take care of aging parents, time becomes your limiting resource. And you kind of take it for granted now that you don't have the money and the health. Like we're always worried about money and health, but it's kind of on the back burner. Time is really the thing that we're trying to figure out. So like for this first triangle, I would say if somebody wants to work on money, there's all kinds of great financial tools out there to help you. I'm also a certified Dave Ramsey coach, so I can help people like get a budget and save money and all that kind of stuff. Not the financial stuff. I don't tell your money how to behave. I tell you how to behave with your money. So that's
Sometimes the bigger difference.
yeah, you got to get that first one fixed, or the second one you ain't gonna have none to manage. So So in the middle, so maybe that's what you're saying, Alan, now with, a new baby, you're seeing that time kind of get scrunched a little bit because now you've got another human being on the planet you're loving and taking care of. So then, all right, so later adult years, what do you think our limiting resource is? Okay. See, I didn't know this, y'all. Like, I'm just now finding this out, and that's why I'm mad that I didn't know this. Usually by your later years, you're having more time now because your kids are grown up and out of the house, and maybe your grandkids, like mine, they're teenagers now, so they don't want to come around as much. I've been working my whole life, so I've paid off debt, and I've saved a little bit of money, so I'm not worried about that. But now health is kind of creeping up because as you get older, stuff changes. That's just how it works. So, unfortunately, so now, and I actually have a health coach that works with me because that's what I'm focused on right now, is just work on that part of my triangle. So I was like, this is so cool because, I wish I'd had this mapped out years ago because it would kind of maybe give me some direction on what I should be worried about right now instead of 100 things. If I'm in my mid-adult years, maybe it is managing my time. And back to my slide, the time management, and that's all about setting your priorities, having boundaries around things, and letting go of some things. I wish I would have thought about this because once you get to here, it's kind of hard. Like the health, I think, is a really hard one to try to catch up on. So I wish I'd known that. So I was sharing this with a young lady that I was coaching a couple weeks ago, and she said, "You know what, Diane, this kind of looks negative to me. I don't agree." And I said, "Okay, fine. And so what are you thinking?" And she thinks there's sweet spots where your triangle is the exact same length. What is that? Is that the equilateral or isometric or whatever it's called? I don't remember math and geometry, but where it's the same sides. So where she is right now, she's between here. She and her husband make good money. They don't have kids yet. And so she's got time, they've got their health, they've got money. So right here, she's got an equal-sided triangle. After I coached her, she came back, she said, "You know what? We decided this is the best time for us to quit our jobs, sell everything, and move to Ireland." So that's their goal. They're like, it's never going to be easier for us than right now because that's the part of our life that everything's kind of balanced. And I was like, I
Going back to the behavior.
yeah, I said, respond, don't react. But yeah, so that's what their goal is now because like they're there. And then it dawned on me, there's probably another equal-sided triangle around here. And I think that's really more where I am right now, where I really don't have health issues yet, but I'm trying to prevent them. So I probably am here. And I was thinking, if you're hitting that equal-sided triangle part, maybe we should enjoy life a little bit more because there's going to be times that you are going to have restrictions on your resources. So instead of me like enjoying when I was young and vibrant and had a little bit of money, I didn't enjoy that. I worried, and then right here, I'm worrying, tariffs and stuff. I don't even know how all that works, but I'm worrying. But I'm kind of like in my sweet spot. It's a shame I'm going to like use the last couple years maybe, that I'm living in the sweet spot before I move here. And then since I've got a couple of folks that are believers here, I'm thinking there's another perfectly sided triangle over here. Once you get out of this chart altogether, you've got a perfectly sided triangle, right? You don't even have to worry about the resources. Okay, so I said that all really fast because I really want to hear from you guys. What do y'all think about this idea?
I love it. And I'm thinking of the term self-awareness, just like really being self-aware of like where you're at and how you're feeling about each area of your life. That's why we're all here. We have some sort of self-awareness that we're trying to work on our balance in all these areas. And I think it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like the
Cool.
point. Yes, it's generalized, but I think it's good to sometimes step back and remember, well, yeah, money might be tight. It's not that you're the only one going through that. I think, especially in a very digital age, we all sometimes get wrapped up into, my parents always called it keeping up with the Joneses, where it was, well, this person has this person has that, instead of really going, they're going through things too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody's kind of, the generations are going through it together, the age groups, your friends, like That's what I'm noticing as I hang out with other friends that are grandparents. We're all like talking about the same stuff. So we're all kind of going through it like, I text them and they don't answer me. I know, me either. Like, but they're on their phone all day. I know, I don't get it. Like, so yes, we're all kind of going through this. Whatever age group that you're at, you probably have people around you that are going through it too. And you always are going to probably feel a pinch somewhere. And you probably say, I don't know how you draw it, but I feel a pinch on all three of those things all the time, right? I know that's how it feels. And then if you take a big step back and look big picture, does it look maybe more like this? We just don't give ourselves credit because we always want to do more and have more than what we've got right now. I mean, that's human nature that we always want to keep pushing. So,
Well, and I think regardless of what season that you're in, you have to make the best of, your
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because just to get upset about, because when I was poor as a college student, honestly, like I would spend like $25 a month on groceries. Like when I would get my little paycheck, I'd do a budget, and groceries cost a lot less back then, okay? So I could get almost a buggy full for $25. But I thought that was the worst thing in the world. Now I've had bigger worries as I move on up, in my life in the years than, what I'm going to eat for groceries. But at the time, I just thought I can't, like, I had some friends that were going to, to France on the weekends. I went to Hollins College for undergraduate. Well, that's how long, it was I went, because it was still Hollins College when I went. Now it's Hollins University. But yeah, my roommate, she went to Guatemala for a friend's wedding. Yeah. So now we can laugh about it, but we survived, yeah.
I had that moment the other day where I was sitting at home and I thought, how did I pay rent when we were in New York? It's like I wasn't working nearly as much, was not making nearly as much. And New York is much more expensive than here. And I was like, I guess I got through it enough that I don't even remember. But in the moment, it was the biggest worry I could potentially have over my head. And now it's just gone.
Yeah.
It was 2020,
Yeah, but still, that's a good point. Yeah.
I remember, kind of in college and, right after college, a lot of people saying, oh, you should, go travel and, do all this stuff while you have time. I'm like, I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
I did a job, and it's like, oh, now you don't have time to do that.
Yeah. There's always a limiting side.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so let's see, you got the time, and maybe because you're working, you got the money, you got your health. Yeah, you've got the perfect triangle right now. Yeah, and I think, Kim, what you were saying, we probably should just really be grateful where we are in the moment, because it changes, right? Probably every day it changes a little bit, but in general, just kind of thinking about that and where I am. So when I looked at this, that's when I hired my health coach. I'm like, okay, I'm not here yet. I'm probably more here, but I don't want that to be something that I wish that I would have started earlier. So,
It's kind of corny, but, there's a saying, bloom where you're planted. And I think regardless of where we are, you have to make the best of it.
Yeah. And maybe if you know that's your limited resource, then instead of being anxious about or worry, okay, what am I going to do? So if it's early on, the money is the limited resource, then focus on that. How can I budget? I can tell you from getting to work with people like the Dave Ramsey stuff, most people don't have a budget. If you sit down and make a budget, you come up with extra money that you didn't even know you had. Every single time I've sat down with people and done that, they're like, oh. And even when I did it for myself, I was like, oh. So have a budget, make a plan. With time, back to the time management, there's all kinds of tools that can help you through that. And then on the health, of course, there's all kinds of people that can help you with that too. So, just because it's the limited resource doesn't mean it's the one that's going to sink your ship. So, okay. All right, I have just one more slide. So about time, since you guys came because it was how do I manage my time and stuff. A couple ideas for you to think about. What would happen if you had more time? Does anybody know off the top of their head how many hours are in a week? And don't do the math. Don't pull out your phone. How many hours are in a week? What's it feel like? Yeah, really, 168. There's only 168 hours in a week. When somebody asked me that, I was like, well, 200 or 300 hours in a week, I guess. That's how I think, but it's really not. So if you're sleeping 8 hours a day, that's 64 hours of your 120, your 168 already. Like really, there's not a lot of time. But what would happen if all of a sudden 24-hour days became 30-hour days? What would happen? Right. I mean, would you take those extra hours and sleep or hang out with your family or walk your dog?
If anything, I would just be doing a little more dilly-dallying.
Yeah, yeah,
And then be like,
yeah.
I don't have time for anything.
Yeah, right. So the answer is not getting more time. It's what are we doing with the time we got? So a thing I ask a lot of my coaching folks is, which do you manage better, your money or your time?
What happens if it's both not great?
Okay. Okay. That's fair.
Worse,
Yeah,
but-
okay.
Waste a lot of time spending money.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Like
Or waste a lot of
lot
money
of
spending
people
trying to
in,
get time.
I know my generation, and I'll say this because I've heard this a lot from friends of mine and colleagues of mine, but like we feel like we are trying so hard to manage our money and be like frugal and smart, and nothing works because everything is crazy expensive now.
That's
so
true,
it's like I
yeah.
was thinking about that first time,
Yeah,
and I'm like, that
yeah.
seems to be creeping further
Across.
and further into midlife, you know. And then like you said, you have less money and less time, but
Yeah.
at least you have your health.
Yeah, at least you have it. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Well, and the
You got
thing,
yourself down from doing
Yeah.
too much of it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, I just was thinking about that.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's a common thread, kind of, yeah. Well, and I know when I talk to people when I'm doing the coaching for Dave Ramsey, they're like, they show me all the coupons that they use. Like, I saved $82, and that's really great. I said, would you have bought that stuff if you hadn't had a coupon?
Oh, you sound like my husband.
So sometimes, like the things we're doing to save money, and I have friends that'll drive seriously, like on the other side of Bonsack to get gas because it's cheap, but they'll drive an hour to get gas. It's like 2 cents cheaper. So don't do that, y'all. Yeah. Okay, so we're already saying this is not about getting more time, but successful management. Okay, when you take the time and effort to define your values in writing, those values become a reliable standard for making decisions and an inspiration for setting worthwhile goals. So the way it works, that's why we started with the values. That's going to determine the choices you're going to make based on the priorities you have, and that's going to help you get to your goals. But it's all based on values in your life. So I guess you guys, that's my very last slide. I mean, if you all want to take a picture of this or you're going to get it, but, going forward, just thinking about today, what are your values, your purpose? What are your goals? I make people make a master dream list. And I say, don't come back till you have 100 things on the list. And they're like, I can only think of 3. I said, well, you go back and keep working. And they come back with 100. I've done this, and I go back and look years later. I have checked off things on my master dream list. I was like, I think something about writing it down gets in your brain, and you start making it happen. Draft your own wheel of life, where you're in the stages, and then select goals that you want to work, and then start your journey. So this is you now. See, you're going to balance your life. So thank you guys so much for your time today. I'll stick around if anybody has any questions, but thank you very much. Thank you for your engagement and being so honest. I love it. So.
Thank you, Diane.
Thank
Chamber wants to give you a mug filled with candy so that you have
thank you for my
hopefully
health.
not the health. Yeah.
Ooh.
Thanks everybody for being here. I want to point out that we have a small business workshop that is also a free opportunity next week, available both in person or online. It's going to be on HR toolboxes for small business. But then looking ahead in the future, in September, we have a small business workshop on SWAM certification, which, if you're not familiar, is small women and minority owned businesses. Very helpful for getting into government contracts and education institutions. And then we have one more lunch and learn this year. It is on financial literacy and end of year planning. That is not going to be an accountant telling you all the ways that you can swindle the IRS, because we got to pay the IRS. If the IRS is watching this, I promise I pay you. But it is going to be looking at how we're, they're listening. But it is going to be sitting down and looking at how you as a business and you as a person can make sure that you're really planning for that end of year and going into that next year just to set yourself up for success. So thank you all for being here, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank